We have myself, Chris Sinrud, the CIO for OPI. We also have on here Andy Campbell, our IT manager, Ashley Perez, our data manager, Rob Stutz, our chief legal and deputy superintendent. We have Nicole Thuat, who is the manager for the AIM unit. And we have Anna Horner with our data and IT group, working on the ESSER projects and all the modernization. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. We just got everybody introduced. You probably know most everybody on here anyways. How are you today?
Good. Good. Thank you.
Super. Well, we just got rolling. If anybody else pops in, we'll make sure that they get some insights on what's going on. Actually, since you were at the steering committee this last week, we went over some of the updates going on with the modernization project. And along with that, we also tried to encourage, hi, Dustin, tried to encourage people to volunteer for being a pilot project with that data modernization. So when we actually get into it, you guys can see what's going to go on with analytics and insights, the community engagement, and the other things that we have going, and we'll elicit your feedback and make sure that we're trying to help satisfy the needs that you guys might have for the product and create some cool dashboards that'll provide some of the data that you guys need for making some good decisions. So that's kind of the update on the steering committee. We're meeting currently right now once a month to make sure that that group is all up to date and also get their participation and their opinion. We had some good feedback on the data collection for this last year from them, and some more food for thought for us to understand some of the challenges that are going on with the schools. So it's a good thing from that standpoint. So any questions on that? Okay. We have the accreditation system that's been up and running. That's the same vendor, Randa or RNA Solutions. They were gracious enough to help us provide an accreditation system for our team, and went through, they instituted a lot of the Chapter 55 changes that came about this last year and provided us with really an updated interface for working with the schools on the accreditation part of the requirements we have with that system. The accreditation overall is not, that project's not finished yet. They're still working on some of the reporting and some of the outstanding things that go along with that, but I've heard really good reviews about it. There will be some more improvements that come on, especially on the school end of things. The first round didn't necessarily have some of the nice features that we needed, but those will be coming and will be solidified here within the next 3 or 4 months. So I've heard good things from the inside of OPI that the system is working well, and they're able to provide some good feedback to the schools from the accreditation rules and all that engagement that goes on with those processes. So I'm not sure if I missed anything. Anybody on the OPI have anything else to add to that? Okay. Any questions from anybody on? Okay. So next item on there is the update on the data modernization project. As mentioned before, Ashley Perez, our senior data manager, she's the one that's more in the know than probably anybody else, along with our deputy superintendent and myself. But Ashley, run with it and let us know what's going on from modernization.
All right. As Chris says, I'm working on modernization with Power School, and could you go to the next slide? We'll just give a brief overview of some of the stuff that we've done over the last quarter. Right now, we have a connection from our state information system, which is Infinite Campus. The data that flows from all the schools goes there, and we have a connection from there into the data lake, which is what Power School calls connected intelligence. And so right now we're replicating data daily from that. So that is currently occurring. And then, like Chris mentioned, we've met with different stakeholders. So we have that steering committee. I also attended a user group for Power School. And we've been participating in the education workforce data governing committee, and there's been 3 subgroups for that. So we've been participating in that as well. We, Power School has done a mapping from all that data that we pulled into the data lake to unified insights. So basically when we'll create the dashboards. And so they did a gap analysis and then are working on building that connector right now. And we are planning on doing a pilot group of schools, about 5, to start working with them on getting those dashboards populated, and then the security and user roles that come along with that. And so we're trying to do a phased in approach with some back to school. Some schools will hopefully be up and running before school starts next year. Can you go to the next slide? So these are the different phases, and we did a system assessment back in like September, and that's been complete. So next slide. This is just like the details of all the stuff that were in progress or have completed within each phase and what milestone it connects to, but essentially everything that I've kind of discussed. And then we go to the next slide. This is the things that we're doing now. There's a couple things that we just started, and then what we have to do in the future. So there's a lot of work ahead of us, but we've been making some good progress. Does anybody have any questions? Linda?
Yeah, I have a question. Is the gap analysis, was that done with GEMS data?
No, that's the gap analysis is basically just saying if there's dashboards and stuff that we are going to have in Unified Insights. So it's just basically like, what data do they normally have and what data do we have, and is there any gaps? So it's basically all the data that we have from Infinite Campus Data Edition.
So has Infinite Campus, helped with that data warehouse and given some of that GEMS data to Power School so that we can bring that up on dashboards?
No, that GEMS data is, we have a data warehouse that we do the GEMS data. And what Power School has is they do their own mapping and have their own data warehouse where they have a commercial off-the-shelf dashboarding stuff that we're working with them, so that there will be internal dashboards for schools and districts and school leaders to be able to see the data, and a lot of it is similar to what's in GEM. So assessment data, attendance data. Yeah.
Okay.
So Infinite Campus has nothing to do with GEMS. That's our staff that does GEMS, but we're transitioning towards Power School Unified Insights.
Okay.
Instead of GEMS.
Okay.
Yeah, Linda, are you thinking that IC is directly involved with GEMS. Is that what you think that was your understanding?
Well, I was just wondering, you know, I know we're going to MAST, so that data will be in the hopper in this year. Am I correct about that?
We won't have any math data with proficiency scores until next year. We do have those pilot schools, but they're not
Okay.
assigning proficiency scores on that. For Unified Insights, I think we can put this year and 4 years previous data, so we can have enrollment and assessment data for the last 5 years, basically. And then
Okay.
once we move to MAST, we'll get MAST in there as well.
Okay. The whole reason I'm asking is when I talked to Power School a while back, you know, it would be helpful to districts to know, you know, if kids are not proficient, why are they not proficient? And that's where Unified Insights would really help with that, to identify where the gaps are in reading instruction and math and so forth. Are they going to be able to do that? Districts can look at that data and say, wow, the third grade is really hurting for these particular skills. Maybe we ought to address that. That's what I'm asking about.
I'm not sure if it's broken down by domain, the assessment results. I don't know that we've gotten to that point in the project yet to see
Okay.
what their system offers, but we did purchase on top of their base model, we do have a risk analysis and student readiness packages that come with it. So I'd assume, you know, any analysis that maybe they showed you, you should be able to do, maybe with some limitations on the data that we have.
Well, and the reason I'm asking for that is we want to see if kids are improving.
Yeah.
You know, and that's only going to be a win-win for us as a state, that wow, we're making some improvement, and these are where we're making improvement. So as much as we can disaggregate that data, the better.
Yeah, and so the way Unified Insights is set up, if you're a teacher, you would have access to your classes data, and it would be aggregated, but then you can click on a button and it would go down to the student level. And that would be the same for a principal or a superintendent. So they can look at a third grade as a whole, or they can look at Mrs. C's third grade class and
Yeah.
Mrs. R's third grade class. So there is that capability.
Okay, great. Because I think that's mission critical, because we want to convince the legislature to keep investing in things that are working. I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
So that's basically my questions.
Anybody have any other questions?
I was just wondering if I could get a copy of that PowerPoint just to help me better inform people about updating this project.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll
put
get
my
all that
email in the
posted,
chat.
Paul.
Thank you.
Oh, we have your email, Paul. Trust me. Super.
And I believe it's also going to be posted on the
On the
OPI
website.
website.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So we'll send out a link to this group when that gets posted, Paul, so everybody can have access to that. So that is pretty much it in a nutshell for what we have today. We'll open it up. Does anybody have any other questions of OPI or the things that we have going on here? Not today.
Well, hey, Chris, can I hop in for a sec?
Absolutely.
Hey, everybody, it's Rob Stutz, Chief Legal Counsel, Deputy Superintendent here at OPI. Just wanted to thank everybody for participating in this group. I know it's a chunk out of your your already busy days, but I do appreciate the participation. I sit with Ashley Perez on the data modernization work groups that happen at the state level. Lots of interesting questions regarding data research, data governance, making sure that we keep the student protections of the personally identifiable data in place at the state level. So the work that you do is appreciated. The input that you have and that experience at the local level is very much appreciated. So I just wanted to extend my personal thanks for everybody's involvement in this group.
Yeah, the other part of that too is if you have questions or there are things that are needed to be answered that you have on your mind, feel free to reach out to any of us. We can get the answers if that's not our area of expertise, but we're always available. One of the nice things, especially working with the steering committee, it's a group of your IT folks that work at the school district level. And one of the nice things that we found out was through this last data collection process, even though there were many challenges that we had, the compliments to the staff were very sound and appreciated. We had nothing but kudos for the staff that helped with that collection and whatnot. So that encouragement to our staff is always appreciated. And if there are things that we can do or need to improve upon, we're always willing to listen and understand what the need is and figure out ways to fix or handle whatever those calls are. So I want to thank everybody today for participating. Like Deputy Stutz said, if you guys have any questions or anything, shoot them our way. And Paul,
I think
go ahead.
I think Rep. Rexton has her hand up.
I think it was left up.
I have been hearing from my constituents in the school system here that they're having to input data several different times from several different fields. Are we doing anything related to if you put data in once on students that they don't have to keep repeating that? Are we doing anything about that?
Yeah, absolutely, Representative. One of the things that we're working with Power School on is how to get the data into and from the current SISs into the state edition to make that lift a lot easier. There's a lot of challenges that go along with that. And for a lot of us here, there's a lot of things that we're discovering that are challenges that we're trying to meet. And so that's one of our main goals is to make sure that from the school's perspective that they're entering in the data the least amount of times as possible and making sure that that data is good and clean. And that's one of our main goals of that project and in all the work that we're doing here. So we're cognizant of those challenges, and every time there's something new that we need to collect or understand, we're trying to figure out ways to make it as simple and as simplified as possible for the schools.
Thanks for that. I will relay that to my school folks.
Yep, and it's not just Power School we're working with Infinite Campus, so that when they do update that data into Infinite Campus, we provide them the mechanism that allows us to consume or ingest that data into Infinite Campus so that those Power School schools do not need to go into the Montana edition and change a bunch of data as well. So we heard that last week from the actual data task force group that stated that, you know, it was pretty painful for them to update data and then have to go into Infinite Campus and actually change data once it's uploaded. So
Okay.
I know we are looking at that as far as how we can upload that data as cleanly as possible, and then as minimal effort on the back end of that as we can to change it.
Awesome.
Yeah, Rep. Rexton, I'll just chime in a little bit. One of the things that, especially with the data modernization project, is making sure that we have these connectors in place that regardless of whatever local system the school district is using, whether it's Infinite Campus for Power School, that those connectors will deliver the required data to the state system without additional input by the local school district. And so, making sure that that we not only have the connector in place, but that it is recognizing what types of data elements exist at the local level, what type of data elements it needs to be shipped to at the state level, making those connections so the data can flow without any additional input by the local school district is one of the really important components that the Power School and OPI are working through right now.
Awesome. That's good.
Yeah, there's just a ton of work. We have systems that are, I don't know, probably when you first started teaching were around then.
Probably.
So some of those can be a challenge of trying to get those updated or integrated into some of the other systems, but we're working hard to try to meet those needs. So we understand and certainly appreciate the efforts from the schools to help us with the data as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? Thoughts? All right. Well, we're going to schedule a meeting for July 24th. Looking on the calendar, it's going to be a Wednesday, roughly 3 months from now. And we'll see you then. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.